Welcome back to World War News. I hope you're having a fantastic day. So this week we got some dev blogs, not for a new patch, but actually for the upcoming new Battle Pass season, the third one. Unsure of what the theme is, but the vehicles themselves look sort of interesting. Well, one of them looks interesting. We also happen to figure out what the other vehicles are through data mines or some sort of weird black magic that CT Center can produce on my Discord. So let's first get into it. The one that you actually care about, not the actual first dev blog, was for the M6A2E1 US heavy tank. You could probably pick up what this is from the name. It is a M6A1, but instead of the turret and guns that it had, it actually was modified to have a much bigger turret with a bigger gun, and unfortunately they got rid of the hull-mounted 50 cals. The main cannon is a 105mm cannon, same one that is on the Doom Turtle, and has a max penetration of 290mm. Because of this high penetration, I could probably assume it's going to be probably up there somewhere. Maybe 6.7, possibly 6.3. The armor had been improved with a nice, smooth, flat front. However, on the dev blog, it didn't state anywhere what the armor value was. So I'm going to assume somewhere around 200mm at an alright angle. And I'm assuming the gunman is a bit less, though perhaps it's like the Panther turrets and you gotta hit the right spot to actually get a shell to go through. And for the side armor, it looks kind of unchanged compared to other M6s out there, which could be also a major downside of this vehicle. Also another major downside, thanks to the larger turret and armor, it is very slow. Having a total mass of 77 tons, they don't give us an actual speed, but state that it is very slow, especially in mud. Because of this slowness, Gaijin had decided to call it the American Mouse. However, I personally think that it has more in common with the Panther II, at least in War Thunder's case, because the way they modeled this vehicle is not how it is in real life. You can find images of the M6A2E1, and note that the flat front armor is not actually flat in front. As you can see in this picture, there is a driver's hatch for the driver to look out of, and for those who say it's the wrong variant, you can indeed see a nice tube painted on the side of the vehicle. According to what people have told me, the flat frontal armor was never actually applied to this vehicle. It was only done in the drawings. As to why the United States never made it to spec to the drawings, I don't know. Ask Konio Fark or Spookston or someone. Why Gaijin made it that way, well, it's a premium and they want to sell it, so obviously they're going to make it good. When people were discussing this on the Reddit, Sim10D popped up and stated the tank was modeled intentionally with the additional planned armor protection plate on the front hull. As well as the planned drawing, there is other further material supporting the planned addition of this armor if the tank was fully realized. The program was cancelled in reality and the tank never saw combat, but in War Thunder it will see combat, so the plate becomes significant. Without them, the tank would practically have no armor at all frontally, which for its size and proportions is a core balance issue and makes the tank entirely redundant since it will actually see combat in War Thunder. It's kind of funny that they choose, for balance reasons, to give this tank its full intended final product armor. However, tanks like the VT-12 get the armor than which the prototype was built into, for I'd assume they would also say is balance reasons. But if you're to take that tank into a higher battle rating and give it its full armor, it should do fine knowing it has two L44s. I think the real reason why they didn't want to model its armor to the final intention was because then they'd be giving away a higher tier vehicle. Now it seems they have no qualms with giving away top tier tanks as event vehicles, but it's funny they take into action standards when it comes to that tank, but when it comes to this tank, their standards are a little bit more fluid. However, essentially what this is, it's kind of like the Panther II. The Panther II was a historical tank. It exists. You can actually go see it at some US Army base. I forgot what one. However, the way that it is in game is not actually how it was in real life. The Panther II was actually a testbed vehicle for German engineers to test out various ideas for further variants of the Panther, and so it's got a bunch of weird things on it. I believe it did actually have the thicker armor, however I don't think it ever had a turret. And if it were to have a turret, it'd be more likely a Panther G turret. If anything, I believe the US actually put a Panther G turret on it, not the long 88 that we see in game. This is a bit less and kind of like that. This is just a fully realized version of it. Personally, I would say that it's practically a paper tank though. However, if they use that excuse to add this thing to the game, perhaps we could extend the excuse just a little bit to add the WZ-111 heavy tank for China. Why am I pushing for a Chinese heavy tank? Well, obviously because when China takes over, they can look at my track record and see that I bravely fought for Chinese culture to be added into game, and I am a loyal citizen to the new regime. While you guys are in the work camps being re-educated, I will comfortably have a very high social credit. Anyways, enough of that. On to the next vehicle, which is actually extremely disappointing, is the P39Q25, which is a French Aerocobra. It has two 50 cals and a 37, like all Aerocobras. I personally dislike Aerocobras. I never do well in them. I guess they just don't fit my playstyle. I know there's a few people who really like them, so I hope they enjoy having a P39 in the French tree. I think we actually already have something like that in the French tree. And I also know that historically the Russians loved them. That's great for Russia. I hate them. I think they're dumb looking. No, maybe not dumb looking. I don't like that their engine is behind the rest of the plane. It's dumb. I hate that. Just stop it. Just put the engine where it's supposed to be. I do like the cockpit though. The things that had been data mined, actually one of them I know a good group of people might be quite interested in. It is the Toldi II A, which is a Hungarian tank and is going to be in the Italian tree. Now, instead of saying everything that there is to say about it, I think I'm just going to clip part of my Hungarian tech tree video. However, that covers two tanks. Remember, this has a 40mm cannon, apparently, not 20mm cannon. So it starts out with a 38M Toldi I A20 at reserve level, which is a licensed produced version of the Swedish Länsverk L60 light tank, although armed with a semi-automatic 20mm anti-tank gun. It had 3 crew members, and its gun, the 20mm 36M AT rifle with an APHE shell, could penetrate 34mm. And unfortunately, the armor is lacking all around, even for reserve at 13mm, though it could go 50 kilometers an hour. It was later upgraded into the 42M Toldi II B20 at 1.3. This is nearly identical to the first one, however it has a new radio, which won't matter in-game, thicker armor, and a Hungarian-built engine, though I'm pretty sure the engine did not improve speed much at all. The front armor now, though, was 35mm, although the lower front was only 23, and the sides were still 13. Because a 20mm anti-tank rifle in 1942 is pretty awful, they decided to upgrade it to a 40mm cannon with the 42M Toldi III B40 at 1.7, and this would be folded with the first Toldi II. Everything else about the tank was the same, but the gun, which had a APHE BC shell that could pen 62mm and a APBC shell that could pen 72mm. On to the next one is the Voroshilov cruiser, which is another Kirov-class cruiser for Russia. As far as I can tell, had the same armaments and armor. The Kirovs aren't actually bad ships, so I guess if you want another one, you could have 3 in a lineup. That's pretty cool. Actually, kind of interesting though, is post-war, she was retrofitted to carry some missiles instead of main guns. So I wonder, what if this ship is implying that after the war, we're going to start seeing some missiles on cruisers instead of main guns? Probably not. A lot of cruisers will turn into missile cruisers, but interesting fact. Generally, probably going to be a pretty good vessel. We already know the specifications because we have like 2 others in game. They do say, Wikipedia does call Maxim Gorky her half-sister ship. I'm not sure what they mean by that. So maybe it's going to have the thicker turret fronts and belt armor, but I wouldn't get ahead of myself. So now that we know all of the Battle Pass vehicles for next Battle Pass season, let's try to speculate which ones go where. The Toldi is probably going to be the level 15 one, if the data mine ones are correct, but let's see. Honestly, I would actually think that the aircraft is the next level up, because it doesn't seem like it would be that sought after for a level 50 item. However, traditionally it seems to be the aircraft that are at level 50. Personally, I feel like the cruiser would actually be the level 51, because it's a pretty high battle rating naval vessel. No one cares about naval, but for those who do, they'd probably actually kind of be interested in this. Maybe. Naval's kind of trash right now. If you don't have a battleship at 5.7, you're probably gonna die. Wonder if people who actually played naval get annoyed at me for constantly making fun of naval. I'd say that naval just been a constant and continuous disappointment ever since it was first announced. It's just constantly downhill. Perhaps I have high expectations. I feel like my expectations are pretty neutral. Whatever, that's just me. Maybe people really love naval and it's like the most fun game mode if you like aren't disappointed in it. Speaking of naval, I don't know if I told you the guys, but I actually have had planned for quite some time a Chinese naval tech tree video. I have it mostly written out. I kind of just need to grab the speeds of the boat. I forgot to write that down, and maybe reorganize it a tiny bit. So once again, there you go, Xi Jinping. I am a loyal, soon-to-be Chinese citizen, so don't put me in a camp. And the last vehicle, the level 75 vehicle, will probably be the tank, as has been for the last few of them. I kind of think it's a little funny that the Toldi would be level 1. Like, if that thing was in game, it would be 1.0. Why would you, like, spend money to get a 1.0 vehicle? It's not even that interesting if you're not Hungarian. It's kind of just a Swedish tank, but not Swedish. It's in the Italian tree. I might be pretty interested in it because making that Hungarian texture video made me kind of interested in Hungarian vehicles. Though there's some other ones I'd like to see that aren't the Toldi. But anyways, upwards onwards to the next subject is the May sale. It is May now, and guess what? There's a sale. 30% off all the vehicles that are purchased with in-game currency, starting out with Germany, Japan, and Italy from April 30th to May 3rd, and then from May 3rd to May 6th is China, France, and Sweden, and then finally from May 6th to the 10th is USSR, US, and Britain. There's going to be packs on sale on the 7th. They haven't told us which ones, but also Premium Time is 50% off for the 90-day and 365-day available in-game for Golden Eagles, and the 180-day is 50% off in the Gaijin store. So if you happen to have any spare Gaijin coin laying around from the recent building event, able to get some free Premium Time or perhaps some packs when those go on sale. Once again, both of those, the Premium Time and the packs, will be on May 7th to the 10th. And the last bit of news is they're actually having some economic changes coming up. I think they're supposed to be released sometime in May, probably when the next patch comes up, but I never said anything. You may have already heard about this. I actually do have a video planned to fully cover these in some pretty good detail, but the TLDR that I could give you right now, because I don't want this video to be 40 minutes long, is that if you play Sim, probably start playing DCS, because otherwise you're going to be paying a lot of Silver Lions. Also, boats are a meme. Now, one last final note before I get on with the end of the video. I want to note something. In the M6A2E1Dev Blog, the top comment states, Japan, Italy, China, Sweden need love too. Now, something's kind of been bugging me, mainly about the last event vehicle that Japan got was a destroyer. It was a modified Fletcher that Japan did use. It was missing the torpedo tubes, had improved AA, and also missing one main caliber turret, and because of this it was put at 4.0. People had complained that this vehicle was a copy-paste vehicle, and why wasn't Japan given a more unique vehicle? Well, first of all, most Japanese destroyers are like basically the same damn thing. Let me just get one turret in the front, two turrets in the back, 5 or 6 cannons, and torpedoes. There you go. That's every single Japanese destroyer except the Akazukis. Yeah, I know there's variations and slight difference, but honestly, that's what most of them are. But if they were to decide to add some interesting and unique vehicle to Japan, if this be a plane or a tank, primarily tank, personally and I would hope many others would follow through and argue that interesting and unique vehicles, for especially tanks for Japan, should be in the main tech tree, because currently their tech tree is basically a skeleton. However, when it comes to copy-paste vehicles, especially vehicles like this that aren't actually even copy-paste. Historically, you could say it's a copy-paste, but it is a different vehicle altogether compared to the US Fletchers. Those are the type of vehicles that should be event vehicles, because if you don't get it, it's not like the tech tree is missing something important to it, either historically or gameplay-wise. I could bring up examples, but this is going on for too long. Anyways, let's close out this video. First, I'd love to thank some fantastic people who helped bring the sun up. They are, of course, my patrons, YouTube members, and Twitch subs. Thank you very much, guys. I love you, but not in that way. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns about this video, you can hit me up in the comments below or on my Discord. If you've liked the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, go and like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. I like to make YouTube videos every once in a while. I make War Thunder Weekly News videos every Friday, make reviews for the week, and I like to stream on Saturdays. So be sure to hit the bell icon to be notified anytime I upload anything at all. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. In the terms of bonus news, here is a horrifying picture of Mike Goes Boom, but without a beard and hair, constructed by DS Player. Also unrelated, Toho Jazz is pretty lit.